feisty one you are.
We're live, you idiot.
We're live now.
Yes.
Oh, we're live. Welcome
to
to On the Other Hoof, to our Christmas special. It's Wonderful Life has been watched and cried over. The Coca-Cola lorries have been spotted everywhere. The Pogues are on repeat. Just one final thing after making sure the turkey and the eggnog are present and correct. That's to watch the On the Other Hoof Christmas special. What is an On the Other Hoof Christmas special, I ask? But it's the third time we've done it. Really, it's exactly the same thing as any other On the Other Hoof. I'm wearing a Santa hat. Michael's wearing an abomination of a jumper. Adam is wearing tinsel, and Callum Adele, what are you wearing?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm wearing nothing, because that's not true, but I'm not wearing anything Christmassy.
Well, we know who the Scrooge of the lot is, then.
Yeah.
you
should have just got Ferris on the show, really, shouldn't you, really?
Hashtag Ryan's Magic Christmas.
I'm gonna preview every race in the style of Ryan, so...
Stick around, because that is something that everyone will want to see. We've got 5 races those who cover for our On the Other Hoof Christmas special. We've got 4 from Kempton, including the King George, and also the Christmas Hurdle. The return of Faheen, last year's champion hurdle winner, will be in motion. And also Vitor versus Don Cossack versus Q-Card, as well as Kempton. We have 1 race from Wetherby with the Roland Merrick to come as well. So only the 5 to cover. We'll be giving you a few of our bets later on in the show as well. And also, do get in touch. At On the Other Hoof is our Twitter tag. Send in any question, fancy you may have for any race over the festive period. This will be our last show this year, as well. It's unlikely we're to do one for New Year's Day. So get your bets in for the rest of the season. Plenty of racing to be had, though. Are we ready for this, guys?
Yeah, just about.
And I want to ask Michael a Christmas question first. We didn't do Secret Santa this year, Michael. What would you have got, each and every one of us?
Oh, I haven't had planning for this. Well, I'd have got Adam a jumper to go with his lesbian outfit. I would have got Callum. Well, I feel like Callum, he just hasn't got enough Hong Kong stuff. He hasn't told anybody that he's been to Hong Kong, so I would have
got my art cup.
Or his art, like he went to the Ark. Did anybody know that Callum went to the Ark this year? I'm not sure. Don't know. Hong Kong. About Hong Kong. And Luke, I would have got you. I don't know. I need to think about that. I'll think of something and I'll say it at the end. That needs to be something very special.
Okay, well, let's open this up to everyone as well. What would you guys get us if you were getting us for Secret Santa? We'd like to know. Just tweet in at On the Hoof. What's that?
That's not good.
No, it's not a good question to ask, but it could well be funny. I'm expecting Kai Wills to come in with something fairly good along those lines. But if you had one of us, or any one of us for Secret Santa, then let us know what you would get us. We'll read those out at the end of the show, along with your selections and also questions as well. But we've got 5 races to cover here on the Other Hoof this evening for Boxing Day. The first of those is the 125 from Kempton, the William Hill Winter Festival Novices, a limited handicap chase over 2 miles, 4 furlongs and 110 yards. Just a 10 going to post here. Adam, we'll start with you. Beaconsfield is your favourite. It's fairly lightly raced over fences, though, for Harry and Dan Skelton.
Yeah, he was an impressive winner at Leicester. I quite liked him, his run at Worcester behind Wishful Dreaming, and then he disappointed on handicap debut at Ascot by Masterplan. But he jumped nicely at Leicester, and I thought he won well. But I just think in a race of this competitive nature, I think he is short enough. And the one I like, and I know Luke's probably going to berate me for liking this, but I was really impressed with Anthony at Sandown. He put away a competitive field really well. And I still think there's plenty more to come from that handicap mark. And at the prices, I think he's the bet in the race. There are others to consider, of course, but there are several in the race I've got concerns about. Sirabad, I'm concerned about going up to 2.5 already. I think he'd have been better off sticking at 2 miles for the time being. I know that he's rated highly, but at the moment, I think he needs more time to strengthen up, mature, and I think he will be a decent horse in time. If there's another horse that I think could go well in the race, I think Buckhorn Timothy, back down in trip, is a player. Colin Tizard is in unbelievable form at the minute, and I can see him having a really good Boxing Day. I think Buckhorn Timothy is probably the each-way value of the race. Anthony is your likely winner, and Buckhorn Timothy at 12, I think, is an each-way bet.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly wide open race. There's plenty that you could dismiss. Beckensworth, I think, is still very lightly raced over fences. He's got a bit to prove in this sort of race anyway. It's going to be very competitive. I was covering Anthony's chase debut at Sandown last time out for William Hill, and I pretty much said on that occasion I'd be very surprised if he was a horse to take the fences. He never missed a beat in the jumping department on that occasion. Around a very tough jumping track of Sandown, I'd be surprised if he couldn't go close, albeit £10 higher. It's going to be a pretty tough ask, but he looks a much better horse already over fences than he was over hurdles. He was competing in most novice hurdle events around Fontwell and running creditably in them, but not winning as well as he should be doing. And he showed tremendous promise on his chase debut at Sandown, as mentioned last time out. The only other one I just will give any sort of chance to would be, and it will be a horse I'm going to be berated for mentioning, is West Wizard, who, with Nicky Henderson, was said to be the next big thing. I think, Callum, actually, you even put him up as a horse to follow as a novice hurdler a couple of seasons. But just throw you under the bus with that one. But he got beat at Kempton a few times, and I've always sort of stuck on his side for this because he's beaten by some pretty decent horses. The likes of Sergeant Reckless, Arzal was another one, and I think Manella Rocco was also thereabouts. He disappointed in the Imperial Cup last year before finally losing that maiden tag back at Kempton. He has his first run for the Nigel Twiston-Davies team this time around, and I've always thought he could be a horse, especially with a low mark of 129, to make into quite a nice chaser. So West Wizard would be the second selection. I'd be siding though with the informed Gary Mooryard and Anthony, who's about 7-1 best price currently. I think he could still have a fair bit of scope over fences to come. But West Wizard, a massive danger indeed. From one Santa Hat to another, Michael, your fancy here?
Difficult race. I've taken a little bit of a gamble. I don't think it's actually going to pay off, but I think at the end of the day, you've got to put into account that Unique Du Cot was the best of these over hurdles. Obviously finished second to Call the Cops at the festival, and he there's a mixture of me that thinks he's going to need every inch of this 2 mile 5 trip. Considering he won he was second to Call the Cops over 3 miles, and he just won over 2 miles 5, but he literally got up in the shadow of the post of Big Dark Spirit last season at Cheltenham. So I'm not sure if, and his run last time, he's won on his first runs back 2 seasons in a row. So I'm kind of worried that he did run so badly last time. But back down in trip, first run over fences, I think he could be interesting. He's 11-1. I think he's a decent each way price considering he was pretty far superior to most of these over flights. And I don't know. I think he's interesting at 11-1. I just don't think it's a really nice race. I think Sirabad's got probably the best form over fences so far. Obviously Beckensworth won at Leicester, but that race he kind of seemed to just outstay them in the end. He was challenged at about the last fence and then just slowly went away and went very well clear in the end. West Wizard, I must admit, we were sort of talking earlier, and I don't know why they have such an obsession with Kempton with him, because he's the scene of his significant failures. So it's just like, well, maybe they only want to lose here. But again, yeah, I understand what Luke's saying with that. Obviously, a highly touted horse that has not really had much racing either, so could be surprised. But I'll take an each way gamble on Unique Du Cot. Just worried about the stable form hasn't been great, but if the horse is well enough, they've still been winning.
Unique Du Cot then for Michael. Callum, what were you seeing this?
Every year this race seems to end up really strong, especially for what it is. It's just a Class 3 handicap, just because it's on a big day of racing. Beckensworth's performance at Leicester was very, very impressive. I thought it was formed to be extremely positive about. I mean, there's a horse that was moving away from the Donald McCain yard in second. There's another horse that it has the potential to improve over fences, and he absolutely routed them. He's gone up 10, but I think it's very fair. He deserves to be favourite. Sirabad, I think, hopefully with a stronger pace, I think will suit him because he is quite a free-going horse. But his form last time is pretty strong. West Wizard, he is a capable horse, and it will click at one point. Fully expect Unique Du Cot to bolt up at the start, get withdrawn, and win the Arkle. I think Beckensworth is the best handicap horse in the race. I think maybe it might be is a big step up still, but I think it's form to be very positive about. And if I think there's easy ground to suggest that could actually be shorter.
I think we do need to give a tip of the hat to Callum Medell, who did flag up the Arkle winner of a few seasons ago with Western Warhorse in this race. I think on his chase debut as well, before Western Warhorse did get loose, did a couple of laps off Kempton. But well done to you, Callum, for tipping up the Arkle winner. You knew, my friend. You knew. Let's go off to Weatherby now. Well, we're probably not going to get an Arkle winner out of this race. The 145, that is the 188 bet Road America handicap chase. A grade 3 over 3 miles and 45 yards. Going to be fairly testing at Weatherby. It is soft ground currently. More rain could well be expected on Christmas Day and later on this evening as well. But only one place to start with the likely favourite, or the favourite at the moment anyway, being Dolotulo for Warren Greatrex and Gavin Sheehan. We have one of Dolotulo's biggest fans on this panel. Michael, it's all yours.
Yeah, Dolotulo's a really, really good horse. Like, he obviously won this last year, and I tipped him to run well in the National. He was not good enough to win the National, but he did finish the race 106 lengths behind Many Clouds. But he then ran really well in the Beecher Chase last time, when he was only a couple of lengths behind Highland Lodge, finishing third. And I think this race, although I would say that he was probably primed perfectly for that race, I would also say that this was is at least just off his second best option, and he had 2 runs last year to get him ready for this. He's only had the one this year, but clearly good enough. And I just think that he deserves to be favourite on all accounts, really. All I would say is the competitors are pretty classy as well, considering Splash of Ginge. I don't know, he hasn't run terribly this year, but he hasn't run. He looks like he might be handicapped a bit to his level, which is a bit worrying. He unseated the rider behind Smad Place in the Hennessy last time, but he was losing his place at the time. But then saying that, he was only beaten 11 lengths by Anicotti 2 starts back. So I think this is more about his level, and I think he could run better now. The other one, you've got to consider Hollywell. Only finished 4th behind Coney Green in the Cheltenham Gold Cup this year, and has finished behind Q Card the last 2 times. He's dropping back in grade. And to be fair, at the weights, he's not harshly treated, considering everything. So it'd be interesting to see if he can bounce back. On all his form, you'd have to say that he goes in with a fantastic chance. To be honest, I'd be looking at the top 4 as you look at the race card order. I can't see Alderbrook Lad, Silver Tassie in this time. Perhaps What a Good Night, but it's not for me. Grandad's horse obviously didn't run a very good race last time. He's been out of form before that. No Planning. He's got a chance, and I think I've been through the field. So there we go.
Thank you very much, Past Visions of Adam. I had this race down to 2, and one of them I was fairly keen on. You did mention that one, Michael, because you mentioned the whole bloody field. No Planning was the one that I'd side with. Sue Smith's yard's been in fantastic form. They had a big Saturday winner just last week with Wakanda down in Ascot. But No Planning's not been in the worst form in the world. He didn't get any further than the chair last time out at Aintree. Made a pretty bad mistake that day. Got halfway across it and then came down in the Beecher behind Highland Lodge. Well, just forget that completely. He's usually a very sound jumper indeed. Before that was third to Verlion Rouge. He is very well handicapped from his last winning mark anyway. He's only 1 pound below it, but he has been running well off higher marks. Do take into account that last winning mark was back over hurdles, but he is probably a better chaser than he is a hurdler over hurdles. So he was just taking a bit of an advantage of a much lower handicap mark as well. Danny Cook's been in fantastic form since coming back from his ban. Sue Smith, the yard, continues to be in fantastic form. And one key thing as well, No Planning could be one of the horses that benefits most from Hollywell being in this race. He only has to carry 10 stone 4. Other than last time out when he didn't get any further than the 6th fence, he's had to carry 11 stone 6, 11 1, 11 8, 11 5, and 11 2 in his last 5 races. So it could just be a bit of a breath of fresh air for No Planning to be carrying a lower weight than 11 stone for once. Saying that, he does have to get round, which he failed to do last time out over the national fence. It should be no problem for him at Weatherby, and I fancy him to go fairly close. And the other one, Top Gamble, I think, is slowly but surely coming into himself. The Kerry Lee yard have had a fantastic start to the season. Interesting, it booked David Noonan as well, the golden boy of the Claimers, taking £5 off. Jamie Moore usually does ride Top Gamble. He's but slowly but surely been coming to himself. A good third last time out behind Little John. And I imagine, Adam, we're going to hear a bit more about Top Gamble now.
Yeah, he interests me here. The only slight concern I did have was about 3 miles, but I think back to his win at Ayr, all he did that day was stay on all the way to the line, so I think 3 miles shouldn't be a problem. And David Noonan claiming 5, I'm very interested in him. I thought he ran a much better race at Newbury last time out, where Upper Pito stopped and Little John picked up the pieces. But 3 miles for the first time, I think he's the one to beat here. Dolotulo I do respect a lot, and his run in the Beecher Chase, it was an excellent effort, but the concern is, was he just primed for that? And anything else in the season is a bonus. I don't see them going back to the Grand National necessarily with him. Of the rest, Holywell, if he was all guns blazing on Saturday, he could easily win this. On that on his Gold Cup run, he could easily win this race. But the problem is, he only seems to come alive when we get towards February, March time. Obviously, with Cheltenham in mind, the spring on better ground. Splash of Ginge, the reason they're here, they want him qualified for the Grand National because the owners want to fulfil their lifelong dream to have a runner in the Grand National, and he needs to finish in the first 4 to at least get in the race. In the Hennessy, he was, as Michael said, he was losing his place, and I'm just not convinced about that he actually wants 3 miles. I think 2.5 is more of his trip, maybe 2.5, 2.6, but he'll probably go well, but I just don't see him seeing at 3 miles as well as some of the others in the race. And I think Top Gambler, his first go at 3 miles, improvement likely to come at the trip. I think he could take a fair bit of beating.
Well, fair enough. It's a pretty wide-opened renewal of the Road of America, isn't it? Callum, how do you see it playing out?
I'm quite sweet like yourself on No Planning, who I thought was a really good run at Haydock behind Verlion Rouge when he led for quite a long way, did best of those that were making the pace, both Verlion Rouge and the second came from, I think Suncloud, wasn't it? Came from well back. So I thought it was a really good effort. Fell fairly early at Aintree in the Beecher last time. Has a really good record at Wetherby as well. I think he's 4 from 7 at Wetherby. I think he's ever run a bad race there. And Sue Smith Yard, they've already shown they can win big handicaps this year. I think he ticks a hell of a lot of boxes. Donatello, I mean, it's hard to find any fault, if there is any fault. I think it's just he's really highly handicapped. I mean, he's off 146. I just think that's a really stiff ask for me. I think he's going to be quite vulnerable for a win. For all he's a really likeable type. He won the race last year, 139. But I just think he might just come up a bit too short. And I think No Planning is a better handicapped horse. And there's a point difference in the betting. They're the two to concentrate on for me personally. I think Hollywell's not got headgear on either. So
I just noticed that.
I think it's all about March potentially for him. I don't think he's the strongest of races personally, and I quite like No Planning in it.
With Hollywell, just a bit of a side point, would they go back, well, in your guys' mind, would they go back to the Gold Cup, or would they, with obviously running a handicap tomorrow, would they be trying to plot him down for another handicap?
I'd go the handicap route. I'd go the handicap route personally, but
they've got more chance in a handicap, but he's going to carry a lot of weight.
Well,
yeah.
If Mark can come down in time, you've got 3 months. Not that we're giving any ideas here, but
Mark about 155 by the time of Cheltenham Range.
Yeah.
He could probably win it.
Personally.
Yeah, he could probably win a handicap.
The race he beat Maffiola in that the race that changes its name every year.
Oh yeah.
He's running in that 150 whatever. He'd be of notable interest.
Yeah, just the way I thought it, he might have been primed and 100% fit, and that was his running last year in the Gold Cup. That's as good as he is. He may just be back for a handicap this time around. That remains to be seen in due course. And of course, we're suggesting nothing untoward here on the other hoof. And without that, go straight back to Kempton for the 2 o'clock. The Corte Star Novices Chase in memory of Nigel Clark, as me and you would know it, the Feltham Novices Chase. Over 3 miles, good to soft ground as well. Softy in places at Kempton. It's going to take some getting. And Callum, kudos to you, really, because Native River was the horse you put up as a horse to follow, but he's going to need this to be a real stamina slog, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm actually against him for that reason. I don't know. I just don't think this is going to be enough of a stamina test for him. I mean, last time it was a really soundly run novice chase, and his stamina really came into play late on, and he powered to the line. And I think as well that the Feltham, or whatever we're going to call it, Corto Star Novices Chase, but I'm always going to call it the Feltham. It is a race that often you do get an impressive winner, a horse that has a lot of speed, has a lot of class, and I don't really see him as that sort of type. And I think a horse like T for 3 has a lot more potential.
Whoa!
What?
T for 3?
T for 3, T for 2.
What I like most about that is you need a horse that's got a lot of class and a lot of speed. T for 3 was pretty classy. He wasn't.
He was, yeah. But is T for 2? Stupid name. I thought he looked a potential high-class prospect over fences last time, and he just looks the kind of horse I think will absolutely relish this test. Look, Native River is a horse I'm going to keep on following throughout the season. I think he's going to be a type that's going to come really into his own over marathon distances, at least 3 mile 2+. And I just think if the ground is as it is, and with the test what I think it's going to be like, I think he's going to be vulnerable to something like T42.
T for 2, not 3, Callum.
Right.
The first mistake of the Christmas special that we've noticed, anyway.
So.
Adam,
Adam,
it's a wide open.
Mistake, but never mind.
Adam, it's a wide open Feltham. Native River for you?
He is actually. Funnily enough, T for 3 actually did run in this race, and he was severely outclassed by Grand Cru. So, before going on to win the National Hunt Chase. I do like Native River, and if there is enough rain in the forecast, and it could turn into a slog, I think he could win this. T for 2 was really impressive at Exeter, and the way he jumped, the way he travelled was just really nice to see, and they've got a really smart horse in the hands. But the concern is, if it is a real stamina test, he was keen enough on that occasion. I just think over 3 miles, it could just find him out. I think he'll get 3 in time, but I just think 2.5 would be more his trip at the minute. And with a couple of these, I mean, Native River and Southfield Royale shaping as though they'll be real long-term stayers, I think Native River is the one to beat here. That win at Newbury I was really impressed with, because he gave Untompa 2 weight, and if Untompa 2 had been running in this race, I'd have fancied him to give him a beating off level weights. So, Native River. So, I think he's the one to beat. Southfield Royale actually impressed me last time with his jumping. He didn't at Wetherby, and it was a concern going into Doncaster whether his jumping would improve, but it did. Again, he is one, but I think Native River's won over 2 mile 1 over hurdles. I think he's got more pace than what he actually shows. With Southfield Royale's more of a grinder, a real stayer. Of the rest, I'll only mention Adami. It's interesting now that they're trying 3 miles with him. 2 miles is far too short for him in the Henry VIII. And his first go at 3 miles, I think he's interesting, but I think he's more of a watching brief. Big old price. If there were 8 runners, at 14 he'd have been a bet, actually. That's a big price, but there's only 7, so you're only going to get 2 places. I think Native River is the right favourite, and I think he will be the one to beat here.
Yeah, I've been disappointed personally with Arden May. There was a fair bit of noise about him before the start of the season. He's been disappointing for me in 3 runs so far, with the amount of sort of potential that's been touted that he's got. He's 14-1, which could be big, but for me, he needs to show a little bit more, stepping up to 3 miles as well.
To be fair with Aldemir, though, his only really bad runners come at 2 miles. At 2.5, he's looked at a fairly decent prospect, and he chased home more of that at Cheltenham. Admittedly, he had the experience there, but more of that is a class act. So I think going up in trip will help him rather than going back in trip. So he's still an interesting horse. I want to keep on side.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be willing for a couple of days' time anyway for Boxing Day with Ardemay. But Native River, I think, for the reasons Callum mentioned, in a sense that the Feltham generally goes to a pretty speedy 3-miler. The likes of Dynast and Grand Cru probably perfect examples of those two. I think I'd be disappointed if Native River was a winner of the Feltham, unless it came up absolutely bottomless on the day and it did turn into a real slog. For that reason, I think T for 2 is the perfect candidate for a Feltham. Jumped awesomely at Exeter, never touched a twig the whole way round, travelled really strongly for the whole way. I know it was over a slightly shorter trip than it's about half a mile shorter, but 3 miles for T for 2, especially around Kempton anyway, which generally is a stiff jumping test, but I tend to have it down as one of the easier 3 miles that you're going to get in the country. I think T for 2 could be a pretty warm order in this. 9-4, I'm surprised that he's not actually favourite, albeit Native River. It does have that graded winning form. T for 2 comes to only a second chase start, but this time last year we were sat here with Orbison and also T for 2 saying how exciting are they going to be when they go over fences. Both of them had won. I think T for 2 could claim a fairly notable scalp tomorrow, and I need to get out of the habit of saying tomorrow, don't I?
Yeah. If it was tomorrow, we would be in a
Depends when you're watching this.
Is he running at Poe?
Where's Maldemar?
It depends when you're watching. And to be honest, if you're watching this on Christmas Day, then I apologise for how bad your Christmas was that you're resorting to watching on the other hoof for that. But I think T for 2 will take a lot of beating in the Feltham. I can't really point out any sort of danger. I think Native River would follow him home just with class alone. I don't think it's a good Feltham that I can remember anyway, but T for 2 does have all the makings to be a very high-class novice. Michael, haven't heard from you yet.
Yeah, last year's Feltham really was amazing, and it's never going to be able to repeat that in comparison. Like, Conigry just forced so many errors out of so many good horses. You just look back and you think, those horses are really good, and he just destroyed them. This year it's not half as good, and I'm Team Adam. I'm going to split the pack, and I'm going to go Native River, mainly because Tifa 2. What did he really beat that time? It was impressive over nearly 2.5 miles. If you look back, there's nothing really to suggest that he's going to stay 3 miles. Obviously got beaten at Cheltenham. Okay, the ground was really soft, you can forgive it. Very competitive behind Martello Tower. But then there's not much to say that he really stays that far, I don't think. Thrashed them in the Ladbroke, I suppose, over 2 miles 5, but this is an extra 3 furlongs, and it's not on really good going. I think it's going to end up, it's good to soft in places already. Native River already jumps well, stays well. I think there's far more question marks about Tifa 2, and really, I guess you've got the question that both of them were not, world beaters over hurdles, but I think Native River's been more tenderly handled, and Colin Tillard is doing something really right at the moment with his horses, Thistlecrack and Q Card included. Gave weight to Entombed 2 last time, and I think that was impressive. I think there was definitely more there left. And off only a level weights today, I think that's the horse for me. Native River is going to be to win it. Obviously, though, definitely not as good as last year's renewal, and hopefully it'll go alternate, because it seems as though the Felton would get a good year and then a less good year, but this one is not too bad.
Anyone support the second mistake of the On the Other Hoof?
Yep. Well, Tifa 2 didn't win the Ladbroke, he won the Lanzarote.
Ah, damn it! I knew it was an L.
And a double whoopsie, because the Ladbroke's not run over 2 miles 5 furlongs.
And it's also run at Ascot, the Ladbroke, not Kempton.
Oh, leave me alone.
It's awful.
okay,
It's horrible. They're all just bullies.
Bully of the year.
Sorry, Callum says that now. Just wait for myself to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Callum will be on it like
Solidarity.
You wait, Sonny Jim.
every chance there could be a mistake coming up right now. So we're going to the 240 at Kempton. No, he didn't go for that mistake. We're on the 235 at Kempton. Hill.com at Christmas Hurdle, a grade 1 over 2 miles, good soft ground again. So still, it could turn out to be fairly testing, but it shouldn't really matter, because Faheen is now race fit. He's got no excuses for Boxing Day, and this for him doesn't look that hard a race.
It doesn't, and it was a bit of a surprise he got beat last time, but at the same time, Nichols Canyon is a very good horse in his own right. And I can't wait to see that clash between Nichols Canyon and Arctic Fire over Christmas at Leopardstown. That'd be a really informative race for me. Faheen, I mean, there's a lot made about his hanging, but they said afterwards he came back, his mouth was all sore, and there was no physical issue with him. He should just beat these very easily indeed. The one to chase him home, we'll put up a forecast. I think Old Guard will chase him home. I've really been taken by him. I was taken by him last season, actually, and I put him up in that handicap hurdle, and then left him. I thought, I'll leave him at the horses to follow, because he'll be one that'll need time. And lo and behold, he's going to win 3 on the trot, including the Great Wood and the International. So, some judge I am. I also think he'll make a really nice chaser in time. I think, as I asked Paul Nichols on his, but he did the Betfair thing the other week, and I asked him about Old Guard. I said, are you similar to... Shut up, Luke. And I asked him whether he'd make a good chaser, and he said spot on. So, I think he'll make a very nice 2-mile chaser in time. Of the rest, Hargam, I still question his attitude. I'm not fully convinced by him. I thought he had every chance to win the International, and just not for me. The new one, I wasn't impressed by his comeback at Kempton, and I think the problems he's beginning to have are beginning to stack up on him. He missed the International, and I want to say it's interesting that Sam's gone for Old Guard, but I have a feeling now it's a stable jockey role, and I don't really want to read too much into the situation between choosing an Old Guard and a new one. Sign of a victory is just here for 50 prize money. Faheen should win this comfortably, but you never know in racing. Anything can happen. Faheen should win. The Old Guard will chase him home.
Yeah, well, Faheen was beaten, obviously, last time out, as we mentioned, behind Nichols Canyon. He made mistakes 2 and 3 out on that occasion, landing on his hind legs. And we all know Faheen's never been the slickest hurdler in the world, but he's got that much class he can get away with it. He won the champion hurdle and exposed that perfectly last March. Got beaten on his reappearance. You could say he had the problems, as Adam mentioned, with the mouth issues. Also, probably wasn't anywhere near 100% fit as he was at Ascot last season as well, when victorious in the Coral Hurdle. But for Boxing Day, I'd be very, very disappointed if Faheen wasn't winning this. For horses to follow him home, I'm still not overly signed up to the old guard theory. I think he won a very weak international hurdle last time out, and beating the likes of Sombra Medici back in second. You have to say, if Sombra Medici was in this race, he'd be opposing him as well. I'd be disappointed, problems aside, if the new one wasn't the horse to chase home Faheen on Boxing Day. I think 7-1, if you're having an each-way bet in the race, I think the new one would be that each-way bet. But Faheen, I think it's more a watching race for myself. I hope that Faheen can return to his best and really stamp his authority back down on the champion hurdle market, whereas a few people are beginning to doubt him, probably wrongly in my eyes. I think Faheen, as mentioned over the course of last year, that he could still be a better horse than Istabrac. I'm still standing by that, but Faheen does have to go out and prove it over the course of the rest of the season. But he should start by doing that on Boxing Day and take his second Christmas hurdle. Callum, is Faheen beatable?
No, I'd be shocked if he got beat, personally. Absolutely shocked. I do like Old Guard to chase him home, personally. I completely agree. I don't think the form is strong at all. It was a weak race for the grade last time, but he just looks a really improving sort who, since the turn of the year, has just stepped it up another notch. He only made his debut last November, so he's still only 4. And I'd much rather be on the side of the the improving nightly race sort than the new one, who to me does actually look regressive. So yeah, I think Old Guard is the one to chase him home, but it'd be a massive shock if he got beat.
Yeah, and Michael, Faheen?
We've spent far too much time talking about a procession before he wins. Let's talk about a handicap now, please.
Well, we're not going to handicap.
I can't promise you a handicap.
It's a rubbish renewal. It's basically a handicap.
Yeah, what I can promise you is a very, very good King George. Is that okay with you, Michael?
Yeah, okay. That's a bit like saying instead of having this chocolate cake, you can have 2 chocolate cakes.
I wanted to say the guy from Matilda then, but I couldn't remember his name.
Bruce Bogtrotter.
Yeah.
Astor. That's the one. We'll go to Kempton for the 3:10. The final race we're going to be covering on the Other Hoof Christmas special. Do get your questions and fancies in to read out at the end of the show. And also, a side question that we want to know, what would you get us, guys, if you had us for Secret Santa? Please keep them fairly PG, because we are on earlier than normal this time around at 6:17 as we talk. So do keep them relatively clean anyway. The 3:10 at Kempton is the final race to cover. The William Hill King George the 6th chase. A grade 1 over 3 miles. It's going to be fairly tricky as well. 9 runners go to post, Michael, but as mentioned, it's a very, very good 9. Don Cossack currently your 9-4 favourite. Vitor, so impressive in the JLT last season, takes on Don Cossack, who was last season's highest rated chaser. 9-4, 130 for Vitor. And then Q Card, who's been resurgent this year, he's currently at 4-1. And really, for a horse like Smad Place and Silviniaco Conti, who has won this race the last couple of years, to be 9-1, that says a lot about the race, I think.
It's a very good race, and in fact, I went to Twitter last night to ask them what they thought about the race, and we got 40% said Don Cossack, 31 said Vator. Is it Vator, Votor? No one's really decided. It's just like just like having Quartel and Cato star in the same race. 18% said Q Card and 11% said other. But I thought the battle to who gets to lead was an interesting one. But I think Twitter got it right. 42% said Smad Place. And I think that could be the answer. Because at the end of the day, Hutch G said Smad Place needs to bowl out. There's been rumours that Vator would take a lead. Q Card has been accepting a lead the last couple of runs. Silviniaco Conti has as well, but I think for him, he seems to, like last year when he went from the front and never saw a rival as such. That was what we would say probably one of Silviniaco Conti's best ever performances. And then obviously he flattened out in the Cheltenham Gold Cup as we kind of expected, and then went and won again at Aintree. So I think we've got to consider that Silviniaco Conti, on last year's run, you can't discount him at all. But if he doesn't get to the lead, I don't think we're going to see the same horse, personally. The problem with these 3-mile chasers now, you think of Coneygree as well in this kind of mix. A lot of them love to lead, like they just want to bowl along in front and just do their own thing. And at the end of the day, at the races, Road to Riches is another one. They're just not going to be able to do that. So I think whoever wins that battle, it could be it could have a derogatory effect on them, a bad effect on them in the end if they try a bit too hard. But I think if it's easy enough, then that's the horse you need to look for. Smad Place, personally, I don't think is good enough, but I think that run at the Hennessy was very good. My selection, Oh, impossible to be honest. I think it's. I've said this to Luke earlier. This is a race that you can watch and enjoy no matter what.
Mm.
It is going to be a proper test. It's going to be so enjoyable to watch some really really good horses going at it. Like Q Card has been immense this year. Um, that winner in the Charlie Hall and then one at Haydock the next time was just, it was just beautiful to watch. It's been a really, really good, stellar and very strong National Hunt season so far. Don Cossack, there's no nails in his armour, and I think he does deserve to be favourite in fairness. I would question what he's really beaten in comparison to some of these in the last couple of runs, but he's won them easy enough and you can't doubt him. Silvini Conti's got it all to prove here. Mad Place is definitely stepping up, and Votor, like that jumping wasn't great last time, and I think 3 miles is another question he's got to ask. So I think Don Cossack and Q Card really are the two that should be the top two in the market. Really, they have the least to prove on that evidence. But for me, if you put a gun to my head and said, I think I'd like Q Card to win. I've just decided we'll go with Q Card, but it's not a race I'll be having even a penny on because it's beautiful enough to watch as it is.
Yeah, it's a race where I still don't know what's going to happen because the finalisation of the ground hasn't yet come through. It's good to soft in places at the moment. There is a little bit of rain scheduled for Christmas Day. It's not going to get any better, but it could get worse. If it does get worse, I really think that plays into the hands of Q Card. He's been awesome this year. He's winning the Betfair Chase when he completely broke Silviniaco Conti. His jumping went to pieces, and Q Card kept going and beat him on the bridle. To win a Grade 1 like that, any Grade 1, is mightily impressive. But for Q Card to do it at the age of 9, coming back or going on 10, coming back after a breathing operation, it could just be very, very interesting and quite scary about how much potential Q Card has got back. Remember when he was a younger horse, he's won the likes of the Champion Bumper as well, going close in the Supreme Novices. He's followed Sprinter Home as well in the Arkle. So Q Card's always been a horse of immense ability. If that's finally coming through with no other problems now, then him and Paddy Brennan could get a very good spin come Boxing Day. Vitor, it's a conversation I've had with Callum quite a bit. I don't think Vitor's anywhere near the horse that he is on good ground when he gets it softer. Good to soft would be about the softest I'd be willing to back Vitor on. Whether on soft ground against the likes of Q Card and Don Cossack, who are very good horses and Grade 1 performers in their own right and very much deserving of their places here in the King George, then I think Vitor may just come up a little bit short. If it is good to soft and on the faster side at Kempton on the 26th, then I think Vitor would take a bit of beating. But with that little bit of scheduled rain, it could just push the ground more towards the softer side, and even it may be soft officially on the day. I'd be siding, if you had to have a bet in the race, on Q Card at 4-1. If it did come up good to soft, though, I think Vitor would be my angle on that. About Don Cossack, I respect him, but I think he's been overrated. I don't think he was the highest. Well, I don't think he should have been the highest rated chaser last year. I think his best form has come against horses that weren't at their best at all. The likes of beating Q Card back at Aintree. Q Card wasn't at his best last year whatsoever, and also he went on to win the Punchestown Gold Cup after that. For all that he was impressive, he did beat Jackadam and Road to Riches, who were second and third respectively in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. But they had hard races at Cheltenham following Coneygree round. Very hard races. They finished very weary, both of them. I just think that Don Cossack may have been a bit flattered in that. Saying that, he's done nothing wrong this season, beating two small fields. Not beating a great deal, it's more the way that he's done them, but with absolute disdain, getting rid of some fairly nice horses in his own right. This is a really, really good King George. And we haven't even mentioned the two-time winner of the last 2 years, Silviniaco Conti at 9-1. He'd have each way chances, but it's a very, very good King George, Adam.
It is, and Michael's gone for Q Card. I wasn't sold on Q Card at the start of the season. I thought there was something there at Punchestown. At Aintree, he got absolutely stuffed by Don Cossack, but over 3 at Punchestown, there was something there when he finished 4th, and I didn't realise until I watched the race back at how close he finished to Road to Riches on that day. And I said before the Charlie Hall, I said, you win races in a certain grade. I didn't think he'd be Grade 1 class anymore, but he won the Charlie Hall. I was against him in the Betfair Chase, but he made me look a fool in the Betfair Chase. And it was a performance. I mean, Silviniaco Conti jumped beautifully in front, but your eye was taken by Q Card the whole time. And for him to do that, I'd argue it was a career best performance. He just didn't come off the bridle. It was a sensational performance to watch. And most of Colin Tizard has a new barn in the yard, and it's on the top of the hill where apparently it helps his wind, and it's helped the likes of Thistle Crack and other horses, Native River as well. So the Tizard form has improved considerably compared to last season, where some of their horses were not right throughout the season. Q-Card was one of them, and I think he was a victim of a trapped epiglottis, which is the latest fad of a horse, something that's wrong with a horse, and I think he's someone to beat here. Don Cossack, I do respect a lot, but I had a slight concern about his win at Down Royal, albeit he was impressive. There was a stage at about halfway where Brian Cooper had to niggle at him to just get him back on the bridle again, just to keep him going. And the concern around Kempton, if they're going to go a fast pace with Smad Place and Silvaniaca Conti heading the field, if he doesn't travel, then he's going to be in trouble from a long way out, and you need a horse that will travel into a King George, and I just have a slight concern about him. I think he does deserve to be favourite, but at the same time I have them concerns. Botor, he wasn't impressive at Ascot, but he's still commendable to beat Petit Zig the way he did. Some of his jumping was good, there were others where he wasn't good at, and he did show some guts to win though, so he's impossible to weigh up for me just for Boxing Day. When we get to Cheltenham, it'll be interesting to see where they go, because if he wins this comfortably, he'll go for the Gold Cup, but if he shapes like a non-stayer, then you've got the potential to drop back to the Ryanair, where he'd be very hard to beat, or you can go for the Champion Chase with him. A bit like Champagne Fever in that regard a year ago, but he's a much better horse than Champagne Fever. So much class. His JLT win was just stunning. One of the highlights of the year for me. But I just find him impossible to weigh up in the King George. Smad Place, he was really impressive in the Hennessy. But the problem here is he's coming up against proper Grade 1 horses, and I don't think he is of that class. I think he'll run his race, but I could just see him being tapped for toe by something like Q-Card or Don Cossack if he's there at the finish. Just of the rest, I'll mention Silvaniaca Conti and Valsalido, because I think Valsalido has been overlooked at the prices. He's only had one go at 3 miles and he won at Punchestown. But I just think back at 3 miles, having chased home Jacketam, he could be interesting at an each-way price. And he's looked a stayer throughout his race. I mean, I was against him going up to 3 miles last season, but then when he went up to 3 miles, I realised that Willie Mullins was actually right, and I was wrong. So back at 3 miles, he's interesting at the prices. And Jack Ricoux, his first ride in the race since Jed the Cochet, who that didn't go to plan, I'm afraid. He made a bad mistake early and had to be pulled up. Conti, I was for him in the Betfair Chase. He looked fine on the day. He looked as fit as he could be, and he was just put in his place by Q-Card. And I just think now he's going to find it very hard to win Grade 1s. If you are going to win a Grade 1 with him, it will either be probably be at Aintree, maybe even Punchestown, if he goes there really fresh with other horses having had hard races. I think Q-Card can win. Paddy Brennan has got on so well with him on his last 2 starts, and if he does win tomorrow, the £1 million bonus is on for the Gold Cup, and it would just be amazing if he could win that, but I'd have my doubts about him in the Gold Cup. Q-Card wins tomorrow. If you want a bigger price, I wouldn't put you off Valsalido each way, but I'm not having a bet in the race. I just want to see a fantastic race, and hopefully Q-Card can do the business.
So 3 of us putting us up our selections for the King George. None of us having a bet in the race. Callum, will you be having a bet?
Well, I was just going to say, Adam, I mean, Q-Card's going to be a bloody good horse to win tomorrow. It's really...
Yeah!
Sorry, I had to. I may as well start with Q-Card because he's a very popular one on this panel. I just cannot get out of my head the way that he travelled so well. I think he won his first Betfair, and the way he travelled and looked like he had this race sewn up and got outstayed, or I don't know if outstayed is the right word, but he got beat by Silvaniaca Conti because Conti outstayed him rather than he didn't stay the trip. It's just because he's such an exuberant type, and I just feel you'd fully expect this to be a really well-run race with horses that are going to want to go forward. Smad Plays, Conti, the Tour, Q-Card himself. It's going to be a proper test, whatever the ground. And I just think he's going to come there. He's going to travel like the winner, and I think something's going to outstay him. I think Don Cossack is just rock solid. I think he wins, actually. I will say I think he's the winner. And I take on board the points that Aintree and Punchestown last year, there were horses that had tough enough races at Cheltenham or just weren't quite right. But at the same time, he ran at Cheltenham, he ran at Aintree, and then at Punchestown, he was very, very impressive. It's not like he'd had a quiet spring, but he's a horse that does take well to his racing. He's already had 2 races this season, which I like a lot. And I just think the 3 miles around Kempton is the exact bag. I think it's absolutely made for him. It is a price around 9-4 that I want to see a little bit bigger, and I hope some of the bookies put up some offers, or really he drifts on the day, because anything around 3-1 I would have to back personally. I think that'd be a great price, but 9-4 I think he deserves to be favourite for me, but I think it's about right. In such a great renewal as well, it'd have to be an outstanding price for me to have a bet in. Vautour, I think, has got quite a bit to prove now. I mean, he's a horse I thought was just an absolute good thing for this race for quite a while, and I've got to the time for him to be here, and I'm kind of going against him. He's got to prove the trip. I think he will stay, but he has got it to prove, and he might just be a better horse on fast ground, on really good ground at Cheltenham. The point I've always made is that he's a horse that takes a lot of work to get ready, and the last 2 years he's been primed for the festival, and this is the first time where he hasn't. He's running in a top race where it isn't the festival, and I just wonder if he's going to be, if we're going to see that Vautour that won the JLT in such incredible fashion, are we going to see that horse? If we do, then obviously he's a massive player, because that was a ridiculous performance. Smad Place, I think, will be outclassed in this. Conti, I'd be surprised if he won as well. I just think it's a much better race than what he's contested the last few years. And the rest, I think, will be out with the washing. I'd be surprised if any of them won. Don Costa, that's really harsh on 4 high-class horses, really, but it's such a good race. Don Cossack's my winner. I think Hugh Card will travel like the winner, and I think he'll outstay him late on.
£10 match bet on Don Cossack and Q Card.
Yeah.
Are we on?
Yeah.
All right, £10 match bet on Don Cossack for Callum.
I'm getting good value personally, so yeah. Do you want to put up to 20?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
£100.
20 quid it is. Wonderful. Is that at evens? Yeah.
A match bet. Whoever finishes ahead of the other one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Don Cossack beats Q-Guard for a neck back in 6th.
Yeah, literally, like, then jump in the last, going last. Come on, Q-Guard! Who gets pulled up first? Right, that is the last race that we will be covering this evening on the Other Hoof. We do have a few questions and fancies in for the festive. Then a bit later on, what we're going to do, we're going to give you our lay of the festive period, our best or our certainty at a shorter price of the festive period. Then, of course, our nap, as we usually do on the Other Hoof. This could be over at any time, really, in the next 4 or 5 days for the nap. First question, though, comes in courtesy of Alex Bell. You say, Maracuja bet in the opener at Kempton. Breathing operation has done wonders, really, for Maracuja. Sam Twiston-Davies takes the ride, so it could be out in front here and hard to peg back. It's a tough race with Altior in, Adam, but Maracuja has improved leaps and bounds this year.
He has, and that wind off has really helped him. 2 impressive wins at Wincanton. I think Altior should be too good for him. That's the only slight thing I've got. I think Altior is a very good horse, but at the prices I can get the angle with Maracuja. There's a horse in there as well that I put up as a horse to follow. He's now got to Dan Skelton called Meet the Legend. I'm very interested to see how he gets on in his first start over hurdles. He looked very good in bumpers for Keith Dalglish, and since sold for 130k. He basically, he was bought for 65 and they sold him for double the price, and he now runs in high clear colours, so it'd be interesting to see how he gets on as well.
Yeah, Alex Belly then goes on to say, in Kempton's closing handicap, a Little Boy Baru at 25-1 could be each way value. Best of luck with Little Boy Baru, Alex. Sunil Kumar wishes us a Merry Christmas, love and peace as well from Sunil. Happy Christmas to you, Sunil. As well. Thank you for your continued support throughout 2015. Alex Bellew, a couple more questions in as well. Is Smad Place good enough to get out in front and set the King George pace? Could be hard to peg back if so. I think he's good enough. I don't think he's good enough to keep it up.
Yeah, he's good enough to get there, to get to the lead, but in the closing stages, I just think he'd be finishing 4th or 5th, personally.
Somebody made a good point to me. Well, I've seen it. I saw it on Twitter as well, actually, saying that the horses at the top of the betting, how far would they have won that Hennessy of 155?
Yeah.
I think it's quite a valid point, to be honest. I think he's got to improve a lot.
Yeah. With Smad Place, it was more the manner of his victory. He just treated some very horses with a complete lack of respect. Absolutely destroyed.
I didn't think it was the best of Hennessy's.
No, but at the same time,
his racing judge said it to last year's Hennessy, and that was wrong. But you know, I'm gonna back out and say that this year I don't think it was the best of races.
It's a shame that Orblond or Orblay didn't run very well this year, but hey ho.
Poor Hawthorne. Alex then, a final question for him, says, why is Southfield Royale 6-1 when he has winning Grade 2 form and heavy track and 3 miles? The trainer is in good nick as well, because, to be quite frank, the Grade 2 he won wasn't very good.
It fell apart. A race that really fell apart. Hulog is a decent horse that he beat, but I just think that 3 miles around Kempton, I know I fancy Native River in the race, but I think Southfield Royale is a bit more of a plodder, so to say. I think Native River does have a gear or two, whereas Southfield Royale just plods. Not to be offensive, I am a big fan of horses that plod around. I like staying chases, so whenever I use a term, I'm never meaning it offensively.
I think that's a quote. I'm a big fan of horses that plod around. when it's the Grand National time, I'm going to bring that back out.
Well, I'm not going to complain. It's true, the Grand National race is a calendar, so if I didn't like horses that plod, there'd be something wrong.
Moving on, Adam. John Anthony Doherty has tweeted in, hi guys, I like both Sizing Gold and Amanella for you in the Paddy Power. Who's preferred for you guys? And also, John wishes us a happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you as well, John.
Happy Christmas, John. Don't back either of those. Heathfield is a moral certainty in the Paddy Power chase.
I'd be siding with Gil Gamboa in that.
Fair enough. He's going to keep the weight down for Heathfield, which is good news. So,
welcome. KJ the second. Michael, you might not know this, but whenever KJ now sends in a tweet, because his name sounds royal on Twitter, we have to do it in a posh voice. So KJ the second has tweeted in saying, has Valsalido been too easily forgotten in the King George? No, I don't think he's up to this class at all.
Wait, that was your posh voice?
It's more in the old times.
His regal voice will say.
Michael's mean.
Yeah.
And now I understand why we fired him temporarily.
Money allowed back out of my hole at Christmas, Melbourne Cup, and National, maybe?
Maybe.
Whenever he begs enough. I don't think Valsalido has been forgotten. I don't think this sort of race is up to this class, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I know Adam. It's like stabbing.
It's not really. I think he's a good horse. It's just that he wants 3 miles these days.
Yeah, fair enough. Keisha then goes on to say, if it is under so vulnerable, given his reason for missing the Tingle Creek, is Sizing Gold much better than his reappearance? With under so, I want to say that at Turles, he effectively did a piece of work too freely, and it was too hard on himself. Willie Mullins has said, effectively, what we're saying is that Turles, his schooling session, was his first run. I've seen footage of it, and he did go round fairly fast. He jumped very well on the whole. But with under so, I don't think race fitness will lack for him, because he was very, very free and very keen indeed round Turles the whole way. So that may be just something to put him right.
I think he'll win, and if he is going to put up a big figure this season, it'll be in the Dial-A-Bet Chase, or whatever it's called now, the iPhone app thingy. I've forgotten the name of it. But if he will post a big figure, it'll be for the next couple of days. He won't do it at Cheltenham.
Yeah, and then KJ, one final question, says, which one of several novices do you want to see most in the future Champion Novices Hurdle? Any answer but York Killer wrong.
Can I just say the actual name of the race is just like, isn't it going to be the title of your autobiography? Luke? So quick, so easy.
Oh, poor Luke.
He doesn't know.
I'm taking shit from wearing a 2-year-old's jumper.
We need you back, Michael.
Moving on.
Back more often.
Yeah.
I've had the Christmas spirit beaten out of me now.
He needs to be taken
Nick Crossland has tweeted saying, assuming the ground is soft enough, Vibrato Valtat to overturn Sire and Sprinter on Sunday gets a couple of pounds as well. I don't think the ground would be any reason why Vibrato Valtat would overturn the former Side of Grugy.
He needs it unraceable.
He needs it soft.
Everyone.
Really soft.
So what?
Doesn't he really? He needs it really soft.
Exactly. I mean, the softer the ground, the more it favours Side of Grugy, I think. I just don't think Vibrato... Well, I think Vibrato Valtat has won his level. Before we say anything, actually, I know Michael's itching to do this. Michael, any thoughts on Vibrato Valtat?
Vibrator Valtat.
There we go.
Paul Nichols calls him, so
Does Paul Nichols calls him that as well?
Vibrato Valtech. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I've heard say that actually. Yeah.
Me and Paul were just heavy mates, really. No, I don't really have much to say about him. I don't think he's good enough. I think if there's a better horse there, he'll beat him. If there's not a better horse there, then Roberto Valtat will just put in a decent performance, probably. I don't think if there's a star, Vibrato Valtat will be beaten, and if there's no star, Vibrato Valtat will probably run a decent race.
Well, this time around there are 2 stars with
Exactly.
Sprinter Sacra and Side Grugi, so it's going to be very hard for Vibrato Valtat, I think. And then Kai Wills! Kai's back! Happy Christmas, Kai. Thank you for your support this year, really, and for the entirety of On the Other Hoof's conception. Kai Wills then says, evening, gents. What do you think of my Jigginstown banker treble over Christmas? Don Cossack, Don Poley, and No More Heroes.
No, yes. Swap Don Poley for Road to Riches.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
That is more.
Yeah.
And he's a Jigginstown treble then. There you go.
And then Kai goes on to say, Vanateur to get the better of Armad, #lovely toe. The people saying that Armad's going to give Vanateur a toe into the race is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, he could
He
do.
will though. You're biased, so.
No,
That's how it will go.
Armad will not get beaten by Vanateur.
You're gonna be so mad, bro, when it just.
Ha!
Arrgh!
Are you yes, Armad. Armad won't get beaten by
I
Vanateur.
am mad.
I'm just putting that out there. Vanateur will not get the better of Armad.
I don't really
Please
like
do not play
Vanateur,
this
I don't
back
like
if
it.
Vanateur beats Armad. I'm personally very much against that. Apparently the panel are with Vanateur.
I'm just going to watch and learn.
I have no opinion. I was just winding you up.
That's unlike you, Callum.
No.
The Callum Adele double-decker smashes out again. Kai then goes on to say I'd say his unrelated question. It's his related question this week because he says, what do you like / hate most about Christmas?
The racing at Christmas is what I like most. What don't I
No,
like?
Christmas Day.
Boxing Day is just the best day of the year.
And the food.
Presents and
What
food
I'm going to say I like most about Christmas Day, okay, Michael, shut up. I think what we're going to agree on most about Christmas Day, the best thing about Christmas Day, are pigs in blankets.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
Those
stuffing.
things are sensational. And what do I hate most about it?
Brussels sprouts.
The preparation.
Yeah, preparation. Oh.
I'm just such a happy person that I just love Christmas. Do any of us hate anything about Christmas Day?
Not really.
Oh,
Lack of racing on Christmas Day, I think.
no, I'd hate it if it was racing on Christmas Day. It just
Yeah.
You
I
can
don't
watch
know.
Poe if you want, but
If you're going to be watching Poe, then I think you must hate something else, namely your family, on Christmas Day.
isn't it the big cross-country race at Poe tomorrow at 2?
Oh,
Carbon
you
one.
will get confused.
Yeah,
Oh, no, was that Lily on Danger? I can't remember.
the one or the other. They're both confusing tracks anyway.
As Michael's obligatory mention, I know French.
Yes, you see.
Io non j'ai non wisdom.
More speed.
Parlez-vous?
Okay.
The Simpsons. Okay. Jamie Brownlow has tweeted in saying, have we forgotten Alfroth for the King George? He
Yeah,
could be in the mix
he
after
won't win.
Jake. I haven't coming up short, to be honest. I think he's a much better horse fresh.
And at 2.5 as well. I don't
Yeah.
think 3 miles is what he
Uh,
wants.
I think I put Alfroth up as my bet of the season a couple of years ago.
You did. You should have done it each way because he was 16-1 at the time.
Yeah, my bad. And then one final question. Well, it's really answering our question. It's Derek Gamblepunt, who I still say, if that's your second name, then that's the best second name in the world. About what he'd buy us for Secret Santa. He'd say, Luke, he'd buy me a second tie. Adam, he'd buy you a stable tour.
Oh.
Callum, he'd buy Japanese lessons.
Okay.
And Michael, he'd buy you a fountain pen plus ink.
I've got the best present. It depends which stable tour though. Where would I be going? the question.
Going to oh no, I can't say that on air.
Where?
Nothing, dear.
Moving on. That was the final question. That's the final question that we've got in.
We actually have something from Kai. He actually said what he'd get me for Christmas. I'll read this out. I would get Adam Webb 1-to-1 some facial hair. He would be a mean mofo with a Tony Stark goatee. Oh.
Yeah, but
I don't look good with facial hair. Oh dear. Every time I have facial hair, I get told to shave. So yeah, doesn't suit me apparently.
With that dig. Right, as we promised, we're each going to give you now one lay of the festive period, one absolute certainty at a shorter price, and then our obligatory nap. Actually, Michael, first off, why not get our naughty lucky 15 out of the way?
Yeah. So this sponsors Luke this week, as usually does really. And this is how this is what normally happens, when Luke tries to get a girl. So we go to the second race at Kempton, and he goes,
well,
how about it? And at the end of the day, the girl goes, okay, I'm up for it. And that's the seventh race at Fontwell. And why?
No, sorry, this is going way too nicely. I'm like, it's gonna go wrong.
Wait for it. And then when we go, but why is she up for it? A girl's actually up for it, and then you think, second race at Wetherby, Leo goggles. But then actually when they actually get to the serious part of it, we go to the second race at Leopardstown, and she just goes to touch it.
Like it. Very good.
I'm glad it...
Always a Michael. Always a pleasure. Right. Callum, I'm going to start with you. Your lay, good thing, and nap of the Christmas period.
Lay. Can I place lay? Smad place. Can't think of anything else.
Boring.
What are the other two? A nap and what are the best bet?
Yeah. Just an absolute certainty that will not get beaten.
Oh, Road to Riches.
Okay. And your nap?
I'm going to put up an interesting one here, and I'm not 100% it's going to run yet because the entries aren't out for the 27th, but there's a horse in the juvenile hurdle called Favorito Bucks.
Goes to Kempton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one, yeah, sorry. I thought you meant Chepstow. Sorry.
No. Yeah, I'm really excited for this horse. It looks a really nice type from France, so yeah, I'll put him up.
Yeah, there's been a lot of noise made about Favorito Bucks, hasn't there?
33 for the Triumph as well, so I'm getting on that.
Getting on it. Adam, your lay, good thing, and nap.
God, lay. I'll give you my nap first because I'm still contemplating the lay. The nap of Christmas is Heathfield in the Paddy Power Chase. I think he wins that comfortably. I think he's the best handicapped horse in the race. One at a shorter price. I think Barters Hill will take all the beating in the Challow Hurdle. I'm really excited to see him. If he turns up on soft ground, Sprinter Sacra. I said I wouldn't want to take him on, but if he turns up in the Desert Orchid, I'd be wanting to take him on.
Michael, I'll let you go first.
Did you forget my name or just?
No, I was going to talk, and then I realised we had a fourth one here.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's not so easy tomorrow. No, it's not tomorrow. Oh, I fell into Luke's trap. Favourite beat? I'm going to go Sugar Baron, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I've lost the card now, but I think this is a long layoff for Sugar Baron, and I think he might need it. My certainty, I'm going to go Native River, because I can't really find anything that I really like that much, like as a short price, and then as my third horse that I like as a bet, I really think Gunner 15 is going to run well. I know that's the same race as Sugar Baron, but Gunner 15 and hi Liz.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Liz.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
This is my mum, Liz. Mum, who wins the King George?
Whatever I back doesn't.
What are you going to back?
I've not decided. I've decided to leave that
The
alone.
Tour Dawn Cossack or Q card.
No.
Give us one bet of the Christmas period.
I bet I don't back a winner.
That's a good bet. That's a kind of Adam.
That's a certain.
But
You've got
everyone's
big
mum.
nervous
You now buy. Do what?
Is Dave Neverson on, or is it your mum? I'm not sure.
You're dead.
Dave Neverson, yeah.
We'll hear some opinions.
Bye, Mum. That was Mum, everyone. And Michael, just finalise what your lay, nap, and whatever was.
Sugar Baron, Certainty, Native River, and a bet Gunner 15. I really, really like that Rock the Casbah race at Haydock, and I think it's going to produce another winner in Gunner 15. Was really well back that day after a layoff, and is pretty well handicapped today. So I think Gunner 15 about 6-1 is a really good price.
I'm going to go for lay. What's the biggest price biggest price that we could lay one at?
Well, Callum's place laid Smab Place, and I don't know what price he is on the
Well, I'll be about 6-4.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna go big then. Instead of laying Doncaster, I'm gonna lay Vanator on the 27th. Bet of the festive period. Oh, that's loud. Bet of the festive period. I'm gonna say York Hill. I think he's the shortest price one. That's an absolute certainty, I think. And my best bet, Callum, you're gonna be so proud of me here. All the jumping action, and my best bet, my nap of the festive period, is going to come on the 27th at Chelmsford in the final race, the 4:10. Julia Fielden's got a horse called Attain, who's very well handicapped. Shelley Burkett's taken the ride, very unlucky last time out. He's going back to his best. I'd be very disappointed if Attain was losing at Chelmsford. That is our latest.
I'm slightly ashamed of there, to be honest.
The what?
Even I'm slightly ashamed. Like, I nearly napped on your weather, but you know, the haters are hating me at the moment. So.
I hope we get a lot
The
of
hate is going to hate. And the fake is going to fake. You just shake it off, Callum. You shake it off.
Okay. On your head, beer.
Alex Bellew has said, cheers for answering my questions, guys. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas
Merry
to you.
Christmas.
Thanks. Thank you, guys, for making a Christmas Eve appearance for the 3rd year running. Outstanding commitment from all of us.
No worries. I'm going to beat Tinsley again. The end.
Get it already, Adam.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. From everyone here at On the Other Hoof, this will be the last show of 2015. Thank you for your continued support throughout 2015. Stay safe over the festive period. Enjoy all the racing. A fantastic King George, a fantastic Christmas hurdle as well. Plenty of horse racing action to come. But until we see you in 2016, have a fantastic Christmas. From everyone here at On the Other Hoof, goodbye.